Hey guys, I just got back from seeing Insidious, The Red Door, and I gotta say, this movie was it was alright. It was fine. Honestly, for somebody who really enjoyed the first two films, I'm kind of disappointed in the way that they kind of paid off what that seemingly was all building towards, because honestly, it was pretty anticlimactic. There's some great little sequences in this. Patrick Wilson is at the helm directing this with Scott Teems as the writer. You know, in the credits, it does seem to imply that Lee Winnell has also helped with this, though I do feel like his touch is very much so advisory, if at all, because, you know, there's none of that flair to the story as the way that it's being parsed out and told in this that I think that he kind of can really craft. And Patrick Wilson, honestly, as a director, I think he did fine. I haven't seen very many films that I can at least think or recollect to that he's worked on. There's some great little sequences that had like some good solid direction to it, but it's also extremely inconsistent sometimes from scene to scene, and it can be a little jarring. But where this movie kind of fell apart for me, or what didn't hold up for me in the long term, was the writing is just there's some really, really weird dialogue in this. Like, there's a couple of lines that's like, no human would talk like this. And it was for a human, like no possession, no weird stuff going on, but just people just not acting like people. There's also a couple of scenes, because this is like 9 years later, and we're kind of seeing how some present day events are starting to drudge up a little bit of the darkness of this family's past. And one of the kids, the main kid from the past two, Dalton, is now going to college, and it's kind of following him there. And there's some college sequences, there's some things they do with that setting that just, they wanted to have a different scene, a different setting, a different place to kind of play around in. And there were some pretty fun sequences there, but there's some stuff that's just, what's going on? There's some points too where, because of this change of location, there's some maybe commentary they're trying to make. There's like one scene in particular where a character is talking about being able to do things they can't do elsewhere, but they don't expand or elaborate on it, and it just stops. I don't know if that was supposed to be some kind of commentary or something, but whatever they did, they didn't nail it. There's also a lot of inconsistencies in the plot and in the narrative and in the function of this world that has been established up until this point. There's some situations that completely contradict themselves. The resolution is just completely anticlimactic and honestly makes no sense. But like I said, this is fun. It's fine. There's some solid performances in here. There's some pretty good sequences. Nothing mind-blowing, but if you're itching to see something a little spooky, go check it out. But if you're a fan of this franchise and you were curious about where they were going with this storyline, it might be a little disappointing. You know, there's still some good to be had in here, and I think it's a fine time. Oddly enough, this is the only movie at the theater right now that is actually succeeding, because it is a horror film. And you know what? With those, it doesn't cost a lot of money to make them, and they usually always make their money back, and that is what is happening. Movie's pretty cheap, so it's making its dollars back, man. So in that vein, I'm happy a movie's actually succeeding for once, because it's tiring to read all the headlines of X and X movie tanks, the X and X movie flops, blah, blah, blah. But like, yeah, it was fine. Patrick Wilson's great. I always love seeing him in a role, and I like him in this role. You know, he was solid in the movie for the time that we spent with him. The actor playing 18-year-old Dalton, who is Ty Simpkins. I have not seen him before, but he did a really good job with the work that he got. We also had Rose Byrne, obviously, back, and then a couple other people throughout, making little nods to the franchise's past and whatnot, which were kind of clever in the way that they kind of incorporated that. I just think this is missing James Wan and Lee Winnell's touch to kind of keep that energy going. And for me, it just their absence was definitely felt. And yeah, for what they feel like for this thing that they've been teasing in every entry, it's like they're continuously dangling this carrot in front of our faces and just never doing anything with it, just always moving it farther down the line, moving the goalpost every time. And there is a post-credit scene that, like everything else, signals that this is not the end. And it's just really frustrating, man. It does have a good message behind it, if how we get to that message and what that message actually means within the context of the world muddies the message a little bit. It's still at its core a good message. But yeah, it was fun. It was fine. It was nothing wowing. I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10. But guys, what did you think? Maybe you felt differently about it. If you did, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already. Before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Manny, Sharon, Ryan, Karen, Philly Vane, Yori, Corey Scott, Margaret Grace, Melito, Robert Anguiano, Jeffrey Hale, M. Sephiroth, Jake Contrell, and Eric Official. Thank you guys so much for continued support. But that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everybody.